Mike, guess what day it is? Hump Day! Welcome to the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am your host, Asif Badi, and ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. It's June 5th, it's a Wednesday, which means it's Hump Day. But more importantly, the date is really particular at the moment right now for one player in particular, James Bradberry. My question is, what are we doing with James Bradberry? Why is he still in the midnight green for Philadelphia? It's past June 1st. It's not like, look, we're going to have to eat the contract anyway, right? Like, he's either going to get playing time or he's not. And the way that we're looking at things here, we probably are not going to see the guy play this upcoming season. And for whatever reason, this organization, the coaching staff, really think that James Bradberry can make a transition at position, going from an outside cornerback to being a top safety. And considering the cornerback room is really filled with a lot of potential and some quality players, with Isaiah Rodgers standing out, Kelee Ringo looking good in minicamp, although it's minicamp and I really don't care about it. You still have Quinyon Mitchell, and you got Cooper DeJean, plus you have Avonte Maddox, and all the other guys that Philadelphia seems to trust in the defensive back room over there. Safety is a little thin. So they decided, hey, you know what? Let's put James Bradberry out there. Let's throw him in some safety drills, and let's see if he can make that transition in this defense. Hell, we're paying the guy $12, $15 million a year. Let's see if he can do it. And on the first day of minicamp, the basically mandatory practice, he goes out there, works for safeties, and backpedals, sustains an injury, undisclosed to the media, and he ends up going into the tent, not seeing the field. Why is this guy on the freaking team? It makes no sense. And the fact that this coaching staff believes that this guy is going to be able to make a transition going from one of the worst, and I mean one of the worst cornerbacks we had last year to a top flight safety. Nick Sirianni believes this guy can resurrect his career or make a comeback at safety. He even said it in his press conference. He even invoked the name Charles Woodson as a comparison. Give me a goddamn break. James Bradberry, we made the mistake of giving him a 3-year deal. And look, at the time, he came off one of his better years of his career. We were in the Super Bowl with him at cornerback, but I wasn't a fan of us bringing him back, especially for a cornerback getting closer to 30, who was on the downside of his career, playing, that whole James Bradberry career arc of every other year you play good to bad, good to bad, good to bad. And maybe they're banking on that right now, thinking he's going to come back and play some good football in a Vic Fangio defense. But then you know what? Why the hell would you draft Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell? Why would you sign Isaiah Rodgers last year? Why would you draft Kelee Ringo the year before? Why would you do all these things if you weren't thinking about making changes in the cornerback room at some point? You're going to retain all these guys? You're going to make sure all these guys get the playing time? Avonte Maddox might be on the cutting block. Darius Slay might be in trade talks in the next year or two, as he's getting closer to the age or getting closer to that 34, 35-year-old season. Changes are coming, but yet we're deciding to stick with James Bradberry for some reason. At the moment, right? We don't know what Philadelphia is going to do down the road, but hey, I'm only reacting to what I'm seeing right now. And quite frankly, I'm disgusted by it. And I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to see James Bradberry in an Eagles uniform this season. I really, really don't. And it's nothing against the guy. I hope the injury that he sustained is something that he can recover from if it is a real injury. And I really don't like saying that because, injuries happen. It's football. It's people's livelihoods. I don't wish injury on James Bradberry. But you know what? The guy got his money. The guy's going to get his bag no matter what Philadelphia does, whether they keep him or not. I say let him go. Let him test the free agent market. Let him get his money from Philadelphia to play somewhere else. Okay? Because quite frankly, what we saw at the end of last season was one of the worst football players I've seen in a long time. The guy couldn't tackle. The guy couldn't cover. Anytime he was on the field, opposing quarterbacks and opposing receivers started to salivate and lick their chops because they're just like, that's going to be a fucking first down. Excuse my French, excuse my English, excuse my language. I don't know why people say, pardon my French or excuse my French when we say curse words in the English language. Give me a goddamn break. It's America, damn it. I'm only playing, but you get my point here. Point being is James Bradberry does not belong in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform, and for some reason we're entertaining this idea of him playing safety. The guy can't cover. The guy can't tackle. The guy, for some reason, can't play his own. He can't stick with anybody. He looks slow on the field. He looks just a tick off whenever he's out there. And that's just based on what we saw last season. Hell, he got cooked by Juju Smith-Schuster, God bless him. And again, there's no shame in losing to a game against Patrick Mahomes, but you got cooked on a freaking chair route by Juju Smith-Schuster. Jeez, man. Every time he was on the field last season, they just threw it his way. The guy can't cover anymore. And maybe they're thinking, hey, we can keep him on the practice squad. We can keep him on the team and maybe trade him down the road. Well, who the hell is going to trade for James Bradberry? Who's going to take on that contract? It's not like the NBA where you can kind of take on some of the money or whatever. Maybe it is. I don't know how the intricacies of the NFL trading market work in that sense. But nonetheless, who's going to trade for an aging cornerback on the plus side of 30, looking like he's 40 in terms of his speed of play? The guy can't tackle. The guy can't cover. Why would you bring him on your roster if you're in need of a cornerback? Unless you're in a really, really dire situation. And maybe that's what Philadelphia is hoping for here. Maybe they're hoping or they're banking on the fact that, hey, a team's going to need a cornerback. We could trade him, maybe get some sort of draft value for him, whether it's like a 6th round pick, a 7th round pick, whatever you can get. Again, I've said it in videos past. I'll say it again. I would trade James Bradberry for a sack of cherries. That's what I would do. You could give me anything you want. I'll let you take him off my hands. I don't want him in the cornerback room for Philadelphia. You have Avonte Maddox. You got Darius Slay. You have Gardner Johnson as your veteran leadership. You have Isaiah Rodgers, who technically is a veteran in terms of being in the NFL locker room for a few years in Indianapolis. And then 1 year, yes, he had the hiatus, but he's looking pretty good apparently in his offseason workouts and OTAs and whatnot. So you got veteran leadership here. You still have BG as the veteran anchor on the defense. And you have Vic Fangio, who everyone's telling me is the savior for this defense, right? Now, I trust Fangio to be better than what we were last season. I don't know how much of a difference he's going to make in terms of making us substantially better than we were last season. But nonetheless, competent defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio should help out this unit. And Bradberry on the field, I'll tell you, that does not help out anybody in Philadelphia. It just doesn't. There's nothing good that can come from James Bradberry being on the roster, being in the locker room in terms of not getting playing time. He's not going to be a veteran leader for these younger guys to come and take his job. He just got a big payday last season. He thinks he's going to be on the field. He's not going to teach the young guys how to play. Darius Slay is in position to do that because he's established. He's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle this season. And you know what? Quite frankly, while his play has dropped off, it's not substantial enough where you say, wow, the guy's freaking incompetent. The guy can't play. James Bradberry's at a point right now where he is not looking good, at least in the eyes of fans. Maybe something's different in the organization and they like him and they're trying to justify the contract that they paid him. But I don't think him getting starting reps over Quinyon Mitchell, over Cooper DeJean, over Isaiah Rodgers, over Keely Ringo is going to help this team in the long run. The young guys need the reps. You need to play Mitchell, DeJean, Rodgers, Ringo. You need to see these guys on the field. And it can't be because you have Bradberry taking up reps at safety or taking reps at corner that you decide, hey, we're going to withhold playing these younger guys in place of a veteran. He ain't Charles Woodson, everybody. Charles Woodson was a special player. Damn Hall of Famer. One of the best cornerbacks the game has seen in the history of the NFL. He was a really damn good player. And not that James Bradberry wasn't a good player. He ain't Charles Woodson. And he's not versatile like him either. It didn't matter where you put the guy. He was getting beat. And he looked awful last season. And you know what? Sometimes as an organization, you just need to bite the bullet and eat your damn mistake. You fucked up. It's okay to admit that mistake. You did it with the coaching staff by getting rid of Desai and Brian Johnson. Why can't you do that with frickin' James Bradberry? You did it with Carson Wentz on a bad contract. Why can't we do that with Bradberry? I don't quite understand the purpose of keeping him on the roster. Maybe you at home, maybe you on the opposite side of this camera can tell me. I can't think of a good reason. Other than it's like, hey, we paid this guy big money. We need to see him play out this contract so that we don't look like we fucked up. And if that's the reason why you're keeping him on the roster, it's just an ego check. Shame on you. What is he going to do to help this roster this season? I don't know. I really don't. Honestly, if you really needed another safety, there's a guy, Justin Simmons, out there who hasn't been signed yet, who I know for damn sure would be a better player at safety than James Bradberry. You want to know why? I'll give you the reason why. Because he actually is a goddamn safety. How about that? James Bradberry don't play safety. He doesn't play it. Hasn't played it in his career. And you got an all-pro safety in Justin Simmons out there in the free agent market. If you really wanted to test a cornerback at safety, you could have gotten Stephon Gilmore. Signed his ass, and I guarantee you he would have been better. You got two options right there that are automatically better than James Bradberry. And this isn't like a show that, look, I don't like shitting on guys in the NFL because look at me, I'm sitting in my goddamn basement with a microphone in my hand wearing a jersey of a guy's name that's not even my own. And I know what you're thinking on the opposite side of the camera. This fat shit's just talking about this team as if he's part of it. Well, damn right, I'm a goddamn fan. That's what I am. And the ball's on you to sit there and act like you're high and mighty by commenting in the comments section like you got a fucking pair. Give me a break. You're doing the same thing I'm doing, except I got the balls to put my face and name on it. Anyways, that's not the point of today's episode. The question is, what are we doing with Bradberry? Why is he on the field? Why is he on the team? Should we even keep him? I say no. Why bother? Makes no sense. This organization, I love what they've done so far this offseason for the most part. Some things I've questioned, but some things I've liked. Overall, I think they've done a good job. This is one of these instances where you sit there and you're just like, man, all the good that you've done, why do you gotta keep continuing to do some silly shit like this? Every Eagle fan thinks this. We're not the perfectly run organization, but winning organizations will be willing to admit to a mistake and move on. And I know we're a winning organization for the most part. Admit the mistake, bite the bullet, and move on. It's the right move. Hey, you got through a full episode of the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, hit the like and subscribe button below. You can also check us out on Instagram at the Riding the Bench podcast with a K instead of C in the word podcast. And also check us out on audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. All of that is in the description below. Please come back next time for the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Thanks for listening.